What's up, you guys? So, I wanted to share with you this post from this Instagram page called Darkest Hue. And I do want to encourage you to follow Darkest Hue on Instagram because it's a really insightful page. The page is a safe space for dark skinned black girls, women, and femmes. And she says, "We unlearn colorism over here." It's actually a college student that created this page, and I'll be sharing her information with you so you guys can support her because she has so much insight. It's not just her, it's a community of people, but it's just so much insight on this page. The Darkest Hue is run by a low income black college student who works tirelessly to produce content that centers the experiences of dark skinned, misogyny affected people. Show some appreciation during midterm season, okay? So, y'all support your girl. Her Venmo is at darkest-hue. Her PayPal is darkesthue@gmail.com. And her cash, well, you got to DM her for her cash app. But y'all look out for your girl because she is working hard to center the experiences of dark skinned black women in the conversations about colorism. And I wanted to share with you what she posted about the Real Housewives of Potomac. So she said, while watching last week's episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac, I was shocked that Giselle and Robin didn't call Ashley out for her offensive comment about Alzheimer's toward Mia's husband, G. It was not only an ageist comment, but it was also hurtful to Karen, whose deceased father immensely struggled with Alzheimer's. I couldn't help but wonder if there would have been a stronger response if it had been Candace who made that comment. Ashley and Candace have both said some pretty hurtful and damaging things about each other, but it seems like the cast and fans are harder on Candace. Based on what I have observed from the show, Giselle, Robin, and fans alike would have immediately descended onto Candace and berated her if she had made the Alzheimer's comment instead of Ashley. So why the double standard? Candace Dillard Bassett, Wendy Osefo, and dark-skinned women everywhere know why. Candace has even said that she is held to a different and higher standard than Ashley because of colorism. She explained having light skin imbues one with a certain level of privilege that darker hued counterparts are not allotted. Standards are different. Wendy Osefo, another victim of colorism on the show, has addressed the coded language her light skinned, racially ambiguous castmates use when talking about her. I think there is a history of certain words that are inflammatory that are often targeted and used for women. I think it's very interesting that Ashley continuously uses buzzwords. She says aggressive, ferocious, and we had that discussion on my channel about that word ferocious, how that word is for animals, like people are not ferocious. So in the graphic, she has Giselle, Robin, and Wendy. And Giselle saying, this is a quote from Giselle, "You hated me since the moment you saw my beautiful face. A lot of people do." She said that to Wendy. And then Robin also said to Wendy, "I feel like the Wendy I met last year was not that loose." Implying that Wendy Osefo, who is a married woman, implying that she is loose. And so she breaks it down. That's why I said this is a really interesting post, because she breaks it down. And she explains how the audience was primed for colorism. And I do believe this. Before the show even started, it was primed when they just showed the previews and the casting. She said, number one, emphasis on palatable features. On the show, best friends Giselle Bryant and Robin Dixon openly bond over their shared light skin and green eyes, even branding themselves the Green-Eyed Bandits. Giselle Bryant's Instagram profile is a picture of her green eyes, and she has even tweeted about her green eyes in relation to the show. This is what she tweeted back in 2016. She said, "I was born with these green eyes and I'm going to die with these green eyes. Hashtag RHOP." Now, this is the part about the casting. She said, number two, predominantly light-skinned / racially ambiguous cast. It's no secret that the original cast of RHOP had a specific look to it. 5 of the 6 castmates were light-skinned and or racially ambiguous. Today on season 6 of RHOP, 5 out of 7 of the main castmates are light-skinned and or racially ambiguous. And I actually think that's the difference. When you compare RHOA to RHOP, RHOA has always had a diverse cast as far as skin tones, but RHOP has always been majority lighter skinned, racially ambiguous women. And so then she goes on to talk about Giselle. She says, on top of her generational wealth, Giselle Bryant's green eyes and light skin gained her access to prestigious men, opportunities, and sororities in her youth. She was an AKA at Hampton University, the real HU, in the 90s, while colorism was ripe on campus. She then entered a prestigious partnership when she married pastor and civil rights leader Jamal Bryant. Giselle recently dressed up as Vanessa Williams, the first African American Miss America for Halloween. But she goes on to say, however, light skinned and racially ambiguous remain the standard even as more dark skinned black women gain access to elite beauty spaces. Like Miss Kenya Moore in 1993, who won Miss USA and really shut it down. She says, for 20 years, everybody, this is what Giselle said, for 20 years, everybody thought I was Vanessa Williams. I got into parties being her, I signed her autographs. And so moving on from access, like access to beauty pageants and just access to being considered beautiful, she moves on to non-light skinned, unambiguously black women representation on the show. She said Candace Dillard Bassett and Wendy Osefo, recent additions to RHOP, are the darkest complected main castmates the show has ever seen, and they are certainly treated like it. Though no one on RHOP is completely blameless and every castmate behaves problematically in some way, Candace is regularly accused of being uniquely mean, uniquely rude, and uniquely shady, and Wendy is often barraged with colorist-coded insults by other castmates and fans of the show. Now, Giselle Bryant has said that Candace Dillard wants to be Ashley Darby. Giselle Bryant has long suggested that Candace Dillard is jealous of Ashley. She is on record saying, I think Candace wants to be Ashley. There's some deep-rooted something there. Now, that deep-rooted something, I wonder what she was referring to, because it certainly sounds like a colorist reference. And so she asked, do Ashley Darby's palatable features make her more legitimate in the beauty pageant world? Giselle said Candace's crown doesn't exist. Ashley's does. That's what she said about castmate Candace Dillard's Miss United States pageant title. Despite Candace's wealthy upbringing, Ashley's palatable features likely gained her access to the more prestigious Miss DC pageant title. It's clear that all the ladies of RHOP are elitist and believe wealth equals value. So why does Giselle think Candace, who had a much more privileged upbringing, is jealous of Ashley? You would think that it would be the other way around, especially with both of Candace's parents being doctors and being able to afford her a certain lifestyle that Ashley's mother obviously was not able to afford her, and her father was clearly absent. Then she gets into Giselle Bryant and Robin Dix's colorist-coded language towards Wendy. She says whenever Giselle and Robin have an issue with Wendy, their go-to response is to allude to or explicitly call her insecure, angry, aggressive, combative, and jealous. But Giselle and Robin have displayed all of the behaviors they accuse Wendy of. Giselle and Robin claim that they call Wendy insecure because of her numerous cosmetic surgeries and the infidelity rumors surrounding her marriage. However, they don't accuse Mia, who has had more cosmetic surgery than Wendy, of being insecure. They also don't accuse Ashley, whose husband has been exposed for cheating, of being insecure. That begs the question, what makes Wendy insecure but not Ashley or Mia? What is the difference? She also broke down Giselle calling Ascale, Wendy, and Karen Huger's room accommodations, quote, the servants' quarters when they went on vacation. She says, as the cover of this infographic essay suggests, Giselle referred to Ascale, Wendy, and Karen not so luxurious room accommodations, the servants' quarters during the trip Candace hosted at the Kingsmill Estate, which is a former plantation. Though nobody except for Giselle knows for certain if she was being colorist when she made the comment, the optics are pretty disturbing. A light-skinned, racially ambiguous, green-eyed daughter of a civil rights leader who walked with MLK, an educated woman who likely knows the history behind house slave and field slave, joking about two dark-skinned women being relegated to the servants' quarters. On a plantation, they're literally on a plantation. And my thing is this, above all that, I don't feel like we should financially support former plantations. Like they shouldn't even have stayed there. She goes on to cover how Ashley called Wendy ferocious. She said when describing an argument her and Wendy had over Ashley bringing her newborn baby on their girls' trip, Ashley tells Wendy, you were ferocious. Ferocious is something you would call a wild animal, not a shady housewife, especially when she is the darkest main castmate. Because when you label people with the same words that you would label an animal, you're basically comparing them to an animal. The Darkest Hue is run by a low-income Black college student who works tirelessly to produce content that centers the experiences of dark-skinned, misogyny affected people. Show some appreciation during midterm season, okay? So y'all support your girl. Her Venmo is at darkest-hue. Her PayPal is darkesthue@gmail.com. And her cash, well, you got to DM her for her Cash App. But y'all look out for your girl because she is working hard to center the experiences of dark-skinned Black women in the conversations about colorism. And I think it's important to have safe spaces where dark-skinned women and girls can have these kind of conversations. So you guys definitely support her, support the work she's doing via Venmo, PayPal. You can DM her for her Cash App. But leave a comment and let me know what you think about her post about the colorism on RHOP. One of the reasons I wanted to share it with you is because both Wendy and Candy commented. Candy commented, and Wendy agreed with it. She commented with 3 clapping hand emojis. So leave a comment and let me know what you think. Do you agree with what she had to say? As always, thanks for watching.